Listening to my Creator 5 review, you've all been asking for this video. So today, it's finally time for the full side-by-side comparison between the Flashforge Creator 5 and the Snapmaker U1. We'll look at the differences, the compromises, the features that actually matter, and whether either machine has a genuine advantage over the other once you move beyond the marketing and road test them in the real world. We'll put print quality to the test to see which machine really deserves your hard-earned money. So let's get started. Now, starting with setup, the Flashforge actually has the upper hand. Part of this is simply because Flashforge delivers the tool heads completely pre-assembled. You simply clip the four heads into place, attach the little wipers underneath, and push in the main module. And apart from a few screws, you're pretty much ready to go. With the U1, there's considerably more manual assembly involved. Each tool head needs fitting individually, along with its own cables, screws, filament feeders, and tubes. Now, neither machine is a nightmare to build, but the Creator 5 definitely gets you printing faster straight out the box. For initial unboxing and assembly, this round goes to Flashforge. When it comes to the calibration process, things are much closer between the two. With both printers, the process is broadly the same. Power on, connect to Wi-Fi, bind the machine to your account, check for firmware updates, and let the automatic offset and bed leveling routines do their thing. The Snapmaker does require one brief manual intervention during this process, prompting you to push the tool heads before continuing, whereas the Creator 5 handles its multi-head offset entirely automatically. However, aside from that small quirk, both machines are very straightforward and require very little user intervention. So in the interest of fairness, we'll call this one a draw. Now, looking at the slicer software, these two are actually far more similar than many people realise. Both the U1 and the C5 use forks of OrcaSlicer, so if you use one, you'll feel right at home in the other. Despite some of the misinformation floating around online, you absolutely can use standard OrcaSlicer with the Creator 5, just as you can with the U1. In fact, the latest OrcaSlicer GitHub repository includes Creator 5 and Pro profiles, so you aren't locked into using the manufacturer's own custom software variants if you prefer using the main Orca branch. In day-to-day use, both machines provide essentially the same slicing experience, giving you access to the same core features and multi-material workflow. So once again, this round is a draw. Now as for noise levels, as you remember from my original U1 review, when I first received the Snapmaker, it was a bit of a racket. Thankfully, a later firmware update did improve this somewhat. For complete fairness, and to avoid any arguments in both the comments section, so I've got my decibel meter here, and these are the measurements from both machines under identical conditions while printing. In reality, there isn't a massive difference to the ear. Because both of these machines are basically open frame, a lot of what you're hearing is simply mechanical noise and cooling fans escaping directly into the room. If either machine was fully enclosed, you would naturally expect these figures to drop. From a noise perspective, they're much closer than I expected. We'll call this one a draw as well. As I mentioned in my original U1 review, the one thing I still don't particularly like about the Snapmaker's frame layout is that you can't actually see the first layer from the front machine while it's printing. Yes, I know you can stand up and look down from the top, but that really misses the point. In a workshop environment, especially if you're running several machines side by side or using them in a print farm, you want to be able to see at a glance from the front to see if that critical first layer has gone down successfully. With the Flashforge Creator 5, you can do exactly that. Just looking from the front, the print area is completely visible from the front, just like virtually every other MAR printer on the market. The display design is another area where I think Flashforge has got the Ergonomics one. The U1 screen is recessed into the bezel of the machine, whereas the Creator 5 uses an adjustable touch display that can be tilted up and down depending on whether your printer is sitting on a high or low desk. Neither of these are deal breakers, but from a day-to-day usability perspective, I personally prefer the Flashforge approach. So this point goes to Flashforge. So this is where the two machines begin to separate themselves a little bit more on paper. Let's start with build volume. The Creator 5 uses pretty much the standard 256 by 256 by 256 format, whereas the U1 offers a slightly larger, non-standard 270 by 270 by 270 mm space. In reality, that's only an extra 14mm in each direction. Now if you're filling the bed with dozens of duplicate parts, then the extra real estate can be very useful, but for the majority of everyday prints, I don't think it makes a world of difference. So for this one's a draw. The 256 by 256 by 256mm format is pretty much standard for what designs are made for in places like Maker World and Printables anyway. Another obvious hardware difference is that the U1 includes a front glass door out the box, whereas the Creator 5 is completely open. Now at first glance, that sounds like a major win for Snapmaker, and to be fair, the glass door does give the U1 a more premium finished appearance. But in reality, the U1 is still an effectively an open frame printer because there's no lid on the top. At the time of filming, the optional top lid enclosure still isn't available to buy, so unless you're using a third-party solution, you still can't reliably print warp-prone engineering materials like ABS or ASA out of the box, same as on the Flashforge. It does look nicer, but in practical day-to-day use, I'm calling this a draw. Where the U1 does claw back a genuine hardware advantage is the inclusion of a auxiliary cooling fan mounted to the side of the chamber. The Creator 5 relies solely on the cooling built into the tool heads. For materials like PLA, both machines are capable of producing excellent quality, but that extra auxiliary fan on the U1 can help with high speed overhang performances. It is a genuine feature advantage for the hardware, and this point goes to Snapmaker. Now, because these are both 4 tool head machines, I think filament handling deserves its own section. Another feature the U1 has that the Flashforge doesn't is automatic filament loading. Just like many of you, when the Creator 5 first arrived, I assumed this would be something I'd really miss. But after living with both machines for some time, I was actually surprised by the reality. The U1 loading process actually takes a little bit longer and is more fiddly than I expected. And you still have to manually unload filament anyway, just like you do on the Flashforge. Unloading filament on the U1 takes considerably longer because you have to wait for the tool head to heat up before you can remove it. On the Creator 5, you simply use the built-in filament cutter, pull the filament back, and you're done. Sometimes simple really is better, and that generally caught me off guard here. While we're talking about filament handling, it's worth mentioning the spool holder designs, because both machines approach this very differently. The Snapmaker uses spring-loaded spool clips, and on certain spool types, I have occasionally had the retaining clips pop out while loading and unloading. It's not a major flaw, but it's happened enough times now that I think it's worth a mention. The other difference is layout. The U1 has 2 spool holders mounted on either side of the machine, because the filament feeders are split left and right. The Creator 5, on the other hand, keeps all 4 filament inputs and spools on one side. I personally prefer this approach because it makes it much easier to feed the machine directly from an external dry box and keep all 4 spools together in one location. However, the downside to the Flashforge design is if you do use the supplied spool holders, the spools sit right out on the edge of the frame. That means you need to pull the printer further away from the wall, and it ends up taking up more bench space than it really needs to. Personally, my recommendation if you're using the Creator 5 would be to skip the supplied spool holders altogether and just feed it directly from a dedicated 4-spool dry box instead. Overall, both machines have strengths and weaknesses here, so we'll call this one a draw. Ultimately, none of these hardware features matter if the prints themselves look terrible, so this is the part of the review that really counts. To test both machines, I print a wide range of different models, from test prints to just general nice looking models, using the exact same brand and type of filament throughout for a fair test. And both machines delivered great results. On my overhang prints, the Snapmaker showed a small amount of stringiness where the Creator 5 came out slightly cleaner. Moving on to real world models, both machines produced excellent quality parts, and I don't think most people would have any complaints about either or even be able to tell a difference. However, after comparing the finished models side by side, I would say that the Snapmaker has a slight edge in both print quality and speed. Each print on the U1 completed slightly faster than the same print on the Creator 5. We're not talking hours here, just a matter of minutes per print, but the advantage was consistent across my testing. Based on the speed saving alone, this point goes to the Snapmaker U1. So where does that leave us? Honestly, this is a tough call. Both machines have their strengths and weaknesses, and there isn't a bad choice here. The Snapmaker U1 still holds a slight edge overall in print quality, speed, and its auxiliary feature set, and I personally prefer the premium appearance of the machine on the bench. However, there are flaws with the U1 that still bug me, such as not being able to see the build plate from the front. Now, when you look at what the Creator 5 gives you for the price difference, it's incredibly difficult to ignore that. If the U1 is outside your budget, then buying the Creator 5 is a complete no-brainer. And if you can afford the U1, I'd still seriously consider buying the Creator 5 and just add a decent 4-spool dry box and then spend your leftover cash on the mount and the filament. Because at the end of the day, while the U1 might have a slight premium edge and speed advantage, The real world performance gap between these two machines isn't anywhere as near as large as the gap in price. For me, that's what makes the Creator 5 such an interesting machine. As for the Creator 5 Pro, that's a comparison I'll save for another day, assuming I can get hold of one. So what do you think? Is the additional feature set and premium appearance of the U1 worth the extra money? Or did you just take the savings and the pre-assembled tool heads of the Creator 5? Let me know in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.